Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Let's get on with, the thing we're getting on with, which is a Hannibal nurse / Abel Gideon victim makeup. Start off with your face makeup done, foundation, concealer, powder, all that kind of crap. Take some kind of mesh fabric. I'm using a hair donut here, that concentration face dough. I'm just going to unroll it. Make sure that you can see through the fabric because that's the whole, purpose of using mesh. Hold it up to your eyes, make sure you can see through it, then decide how much fabric you need and cut out a small section. There's going to be a lot of latex here around your eyes and your eyebrows, so you want to coat your eyebrows, eyelashes, everything in Vaseline to stop the latex tearing those hairs out. You really don't want to skip this step. It's time to embrace our inner panda. Just take some black cream paint and just paint 2 large black circles around the entire eye area. I'm using cream paints here, so I am then going to set that with a powder, just using a plain black eyeshadow. And that, I suppose. This is obviously more of a gag effect rather than something realistic. If you wanted to go for something realistic, you'd need to make an entire prosthetic. I am working on that also at the moment, and I will upload that video as soon as that's done. I've put a really tiny amount of skin safe adhesive around my eye. I'm using Prozaid cream adhesive. Just because you don't want that to drip down into your eye, so put a little bit around the eye area and a little bit onto the mesh fabric, wait for it to become tacky and then press that onto the eye. Because you're using such a small amount of adhesive, it's probably not going to hold the best, so you need to work kind of quick. You want to take some tissues and some liquid latex and separate the tissue ply, if that makes sense. Tear that up into small sections. You want to make sure you tear it and don't cut it because you want the edges to be jagged. Do it into a small amount of latex and then use that latex to kind of anchor the mesh to the skin. So you want to have one piece of tissue on the very edge of the mesh, not too close to your actual eye, and then you want to have the other piece of the tissue holding that down onto the skin. Just lay 1 or 2 pieces down roughly around each side of the mesh just to hold it in place, and then you can go back and fix it all up afterwards. Now that I have some tissues to secure the piece of mesh roughly where I want it, I'm going to go back in with some more tissue and latex. I'm not going to use too much liquid latex because again you don't want it to drip down into your eyes because that's really not very fun. I applied 3 or 4 layers here and also I used less tissue as I worked further away from the centre of the eye just to make it easier to blend that down into the skin sort of. Taking some liquid latex on a cotton bud or a Q-tip, I'm just going to use that to paint the very edge of the latex and the skin to kind of mould it together, if that makes sense. Once you're happy with the build-up, you want to make sure everything is completely dry before you try to put any paint on it. I'm just using my hairdryer here on a low setting, and yeah, just make sure it's all dry. Every time I caught sight of myself in the mirror, I just could not stop laughing because I just looked so absolutely ridiculous. Colouring it in with the foundation that's on my face. You might need to use like a darker concealer underneath first and then put your foundation on top. Once you're happy with the colour, you want to go over everything with just a translucent powder. Just draw a new eyebrow back in over the wound. Now I'm taking some cream paints and I'm just going to paint some kind of meaty tones into the opening, I guess. Concentrating the darker colours right into the wound, if that makes sense, and then using the lighter colours towards the outer edge just to make everything look a little bit more irritated. Now for the blood application, I'm taking some thick blood or scab blood just on a popsicle stick, and I'm just going to kind of push it into the wound and have it hanging over just so it looks like there's some nice, you know, fleshy, meaty parts hanging out of the wound. Just using a stipple sponge just to add random, you know, flecks of blood just to make it a little bit more messy, I suppose, without adding a ton of blood. And you're pretty much done. I added blood to the gloves and also some liquid blood drips down the face, but I waited until I was ready to take pictures to do that because otherwise it gets kind of messy, but that is pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you give this video a thumbs up, I can promise you that you'll be given the winning numbers to next week's lotto, so don't forget to do that. If you hit subscribe, it might be the winning numbers to the Euro Millions lotto, so yeah, make sure you do that too. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.